Hey, welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? Still don't know. What I do know is that my girlies of the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group have put out some pretty awesome films recently. Have you seen them all? You haven't? Well, once you finish watching mine, they're linked in the description box. Pop over and check them out. But this film, I mean, you're not daft. You've read the title. You know exactly what palette it is. But it is indeed the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette. And this, I have not broken my low by, because this was my Valentine's Day present from my husband. We have a rule that we don't spend a fortune on each other, because with now 5 godchildren, because our 5th godchild had his naming ceremony on Sunday, so that's 4 christenings, 1 naming ceremony, so I've got 5 godchildren. One of my brother from another mother has 2 daughters, so effectively I've got 2 nieces. And of course, I have my gorgeous nephew Spencer. So we have an awful lot of children in our lives, with birthdays and Easter and Christmas and everything. So we make a point that we don't spend a fortune on each other. We prefer to find something meaningful. And what could be better for a Valentine's present than a Love Signs palette? So, if you want to see exactly how I achieved this pretty stunning fruit salad like tropical paradise eye look, I need more coffee. You're in the right place, however, because here comes the tutorial. Hey, welcome back from the intro. Okay, quick housekeeping. My videos are aimed at all skill levels, so I take you through step by step by step, and I keep all the blending in real time. I also talk through how people with hooded lids can follow my tutorial. So, regular viewers will know that bit, and I really don't mind if you skip through it and get to the stage that I'm putting colour on. Once I get to that stage, I'm not there yet. Likewise, if you're quicker at blending than I am, because with my chronic pain I do regularly have to stop, and I'm in a lot of pain today, an awful lot of pain, so I might have to stop more often than I'd like. Feel free to speed me up, I really don't have a problem with that. My face is washed, moisturised, SPF'd and primed, and all I've got on it so far is I've got some concealer and definer on my eyelids, which I've set with Coty Airspun. Now, you will have seen this in the intro. My darling hubster bought me this because he said it was the Zodiac Love Palette. And he knew from helping me doing all my palettes that I've got, he knew I had the original one of these. And I was watching, I think it was Nikki Raven, and she was using this. And he went, "You've got that one, haven't you?" I said, "No, I've got the ordinary one, that's the Zodiac Love." And he went, "Oh, right, okay." Next thing I know, for Valentine's Day, he bought me the Zodiac Love one. He's such a sweetheart. Right, this is the packaging on the inside. Annoyingly, one of my shimmer shadows was actually a little smushed. I had to push it back in again. Leo was a little sad, shall we say. Nice big mirror, as you can see. So for once, for the time being, I'm going to be keeping hold of this just to make sure Leo doesn't go everywhere. I have swatched this, but this is how it looks. Fabulous. If I come in, you can see what I mean about Leo being a little a little smushed compared to the rest. I haven't swatched the highlight in the middle, I want that to be a surprise. Right, I am going to start zooming you in. I'm going to be very up close and personal because I'm going to put the swatches across the screen while I zoom in. Okay? Top row from wrist to elbow or left to right are the shimmers, bottom row are the mattes. Shimmers and mattes both have the same name because obviously they're astrological signs, so I will tell you what they are from left to right or wrist to elbow. Okay, so we have Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And I'm back. Hello. Hi. Told you to be up close and personal. Right. This is the bit where regulars, if you wish, can zoom forward until you see colour going on my eye. When I look straight ahead, you can see all of my mobile lid from inner corner to outer corner. So I don't have hooded lids. If you don't see that, you either have a half or a full hooded lid or what's known as a mono or an Asian eye. Now I actually have what's known as deep set lids, which a lot of people mistake as being hooded. If I put my brush here and completely cover the mobile lid, you can see, and then close that eye, you can see I've got just as much mobile lid again that folds back in. So I do understand the issues that people with hooded lids have, because I get them as well. I get transference of shimmers up there and I have to do my cut crease. Instead of nicely following the shape of my eye, I have to come right up here, otherwise transference up and it just looks a mess. Thankfully though, if I do get transference, because mine are deep set, you only really notice it if I close my eyes or wink at you. So there you go. If you have hooded lids, you can still follow my tutorial. Grab something like this, flat top brush or a pencil brush, anything with a nice fine point to it, and with your eye open, just sketch out where you will need your crease to fall. Okay? Now obviously by moving the crease up, you're going to reduce the space between your crease colour and your brow. Always raise your eyebrows to tauten the skin, because being 44 and having lost 10 stone in the last few years, the skin on my eyelids moves. So you raise your eyebrows to tauten your lid as much as possible to try and help prevent fallout and prevent skipping, so you don't get white bits where as you've gone across your skin's folded over, and dead giveaway of your age of that one, I tell you. So, as well as raising your brows, there are other things we can do to make sure you can still follow the tutorial. Now, I'm going to be using brushes like, okay, a strange cat has just leapt across the front of my window. Interesting. I'm going to be using brushes like this, a big fluffy blending brush and then a more tapered blending brush. Now, whatever the width of the head of the brush, that's how far out it's going to blend. So obviously if you've moved your crease up, that's probably going to take it up above your eyebrows. So you don't want to start with this brush, you need to start with this more tapered one here. When I move down to this tapered one, you need to use something like this, which is a tapered crease brush. It's not a pencil brush because it's still got plenty of movement, but it comes right up to a point at the top. So you can really control exactly how wide it blends out. This particular one I got is from Coastal Scents and it's a very good one. But I also have one here that I bought as part of a set from AliExpress, and the whole set of 12 cost me I think £2.60. If I remember, I'll link it in the description box below. So, shall we get started? Would that be a good plan? That would be a good plan. Shut up, Ange. Start putting some colour on your face. Okay. Right. So excited. I love this point. Problem is decisions as to which colours I'm going to use, because there are so many that I want to use, and I want to use all of them, and clearly I can't use all of them because that would just look ridiculous. I am very drawn to sort of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces because they're the sort of the blues and the grungier colours. But I'm aware that the majority of people that buy this palette are going to be buying it for these sort of colours. So I feel like I should do something for you, really. So let's start off with the matte on Cancer, which is like a mustardy yellow. I'm tapping off into my colour switch, but because the sponge is tearing, I'm actually using a clean washcloth just to change the colour on the brushes. So let's start off at the edge here, and we're going to do windscreen wiper movements backwards and forwards. Now I'm following my eye socket. If you've had to raise your crease up, you follow your crease. Okay? Just to lay the line down and make sure that it's visible. Yep. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that. And now we're going to do circular movements. The reason we're doing this is because it will very, very gently move the skin around as we're applying the shadow, and will help prevent those gaps that I was talking about. Okay? So we start here, and we're going to do little circles, keeping the brush in contact with that crease line we've put down. And when we get to the middle, without taking the brush off the skin, we're going to go up a bit, reverse the direction, and then come back out again. And because I've got deep set eyes, I can actually go up again, go back to the original direction, and come back along. Now, I like to leave 4 or 5 mils, which is about a brush width, from the lowest part of my brow, and make that where I finish my shade. Because I like to have a nice plain strip of skin just through here, just because it really helps show the highlight off, the brow bone highlight that we're going to put on later, and also it's a more flattering look for most eye shapes. Now I always struggle here and here on both eyes to get pigment to stay, simply because of creasing. So I'm just going to pop a bit more pigment on here, and I've tapped off, but rather than doing circles now, I'm just going to very, very gently tap and gently move the brush around, just to increase the depth of shade just on that top corner there. I'm not worried here because I'm going to add more deeper colours. And then I'm just going to go over it again with little windscreen wiper movements all over, and a mixture of windscreen wipers and helicopters, just to make sure I've got everything nicely blended. That is a really nice shadow. But then I'm not surprised, because I mean, you know, the original Zodiac was an awesome palette too. Now this side, because I'm blinding it, I can close this one, but I do find it is actually easier when you're doing your crease to actually leave your eye open, especially if you've got deep set eyes like I have. Because you can see what I mean then about how much of it actually comes onto the lid that goes back inside. But it's not a problem because we'll be dealing with that later. But it is always wise to open your eyes and just check that you can still see the line all the way through. Okay. Now I've got really, really deep set creases here because my eye was pulled around a lot when I was 5 and 6 years old. So when I get to the deeper colours, I do have to do a slightly different manoeuvre in order to make sure I don't get any white patches, but you only do that if the circles don't work for you. Okay. So again, I've added more colour, and we're going to do little circular movements backwards and forwards, and obviously I can go up again and come back along, and just really gently buff the colour around, just I mean, you can see this is blending out so beautifully. It's really not taking a lot of effort at all, which I'm very pleased about, because the amount of pain I'm in right now, I really, really don't want to be having a palette that's awkward to blend. I was at our 5th godchild's naming ceremony a couple of days ago, and it's absolutely wiped me out in terms of pain. So, partly because of driving there, because obviously my husband doesn't drive, he only has a forklift licence, and I'm not sitting on the prongs of the forklift all the way to, where the naming ceremony was. So, and I had a full car as well. I'd got brother-in-law and one of hubby's best mates that was one of our best men. And actually, it was the other best man. It was his son that was having the naming ceremony. So, right, so I've cleaned the colour off of that brush, and now I'm going to go in with I think I'm going to go in with Virgo, which is like a muted pumpkin colour. Still in the mattes, obviously. And we're going to start off exactly the same way, just running backwards and forwards through the crease. Wow, that's a lush colour. Hello. Pick up a little bit more, just like we did before. But this time when we do the circles, we're not going to go up the eye, we're going to keep in contact with that line we've laid down, okay? I'll show you what I mean. So we're still going to do what we did before, circle across to the middle, but we're not going to go up the eye, we're just going to reverse the direction and come back again. I'm going to do this a couple of times across the eye, just to make sure we've got it really nicely blended and really blow that shadow out. And then what I'm going to do is do very, very light windscreen wiper movements just across where the two colours meet, just to blend them together, because I don't want a hard line where one colour finishes and the next one starts. I want it to really sort of fade in, and you can see, I hope, the difference that makes. So now we're going to repeat this on the other eye. So again, through our crease like so. Pick up a wee bit more. And keeping in touch with that line all the way across, reverse the direction, and all the way back again. We're going to do that a couple of times. I'm really not worried about it getting on the lid, because we're going to go over that with shimmers later anyway. So, but I can now show you what I mean about the striping that I get here, and I have to very, very gently tauten the skin there just to do this. Do not do this unless you absolutely have to, otherwise you will give yourself creasing, and I promise you, once you've got it, it doesn't go away, it just gets worse. And again, just gently buffing across where those two colours meet, just to soften the blend slightly between the two. Yes, I like that. Right, clean the colour off the brush. And I'm now going to go down to the more tapered brush that I showed you earlier. And I'm just going to make sure, because it's slightly stained, so I'm just making sure that there's absolutely no dark colour left on the brush, which, as you can see, there isn't. And I am, temptation to go dark and grungy, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go into Aries, which is a really nice pink, actually. It's kind of a muted raspberry, I suppose. What we're going to do, I'm just going to gently tap this on the outer corner of the mobile lid, like so. and then pick up a bit more. And again, we're going to go through the crease like we did with the previous two shades, but this time we're not going to add any more colour to the brush, and we're going to go right on that line and very, very tiny circles, as small as we can get them, because all we're trying to do is soften the edges of that line. We're not trying to blow it up the eye at all. We're just softening the edges of where it meets the orange. Okay? And then just gently blend it into that corner there. Ooh, tutti frutti line. I know Sophie's going to like this. She loves tutti frutti eyeballs that I do. And the same this side, so tap the colour onto the outer corner. Like so. It's so much easier to show you when I can close this eye, but if I close the other one there wouldn't be a lot of makeup happening. And again, run that backwards and forwards through the crease. And then really tiny little circles, just to soften the very edges of that colour that we've put down. Keeping the brush moving all the time, not lifting it off on the skin. Just really gentle buffing. And I'll just check. Yeah, I just need a little bit of extra help on this inside corner. Not too much, thankfully. Cool. Okay. Right. Now comes the fun bit. Now's the time that I'm going to start playing with the shimmers. If you know me, you know I love playing with shimmers. Right. So I'm picking up, this is actually the Royal & Langnickel Chic Pro Spot Concealer brush. But it looks like this. Okay. And it comes up to a nice tapered point. Nicely rounded. So I'm going to start off with the Aries matte. Okay, these baked shadows kick up a lot in the pan. Now you know I always apply my shadows wet, but you should never go into a pressed shadow with a wet brush, because you will get hard pan, which means it will seal the top over and you won't be able to use it. So I'm just going to spray the brush and then wipe the ferrule dry so that no moisture goes down and affects the glue holding the bristles in. And I'm just going to pop this on the first part of my lid. Just bringing it up. I could do a cut crease, but what I want to do is see whether these shimmers have enough pigmentation to actually cover the matte shades that I've put down already. And you can see that yes, they do. So I'm just going to take that about halfway along. And then I'm going to dry and clean the brush off on my washcloth down here. If I was using my colour switch, I would take the colour off and then I would actually dry the brush on my hand like this before going back into the shade to pick up more pigment. Now the spray that I'm actually using, this is the Makeup Obsession Pigment Boost, but you can use anything. You can use a moisturising spray like Fix Plus or Mario Badescu. You can use a priming spray, you can use a setting spray, you can just use water. Right, now because of these deep creases here, I do have to stretch my lid out, otherwise the shimmer just sort of like skims over the top of those creases, and then as it dries I get showers of shimmer flaking down my face during the day, which is not very pretty at all. And then again carry that across about halfway along the lid. So pretty. This palette it really is pretty. And then I am going to go into Virgo, which is a beautiful sort of soft peach, as you can see, and wet the brush, and then put this on the rest of the lid. And what I'm going to do, I'm take it about sort of like the middle third, and then just angle it down to the corner there like that, so that you still see that beautiful pink matte shade that we put down. So just angle that up ever so gently, or angle it down, whichever direction you find easiest. And then just very, very lightly, just buff across where the pink meets. Now that really is a Tutti Frutti eyelid. Sophie is going to be very happy with me indeed. She loves when I do Tutti Frutti lids. So, I've dried my brush off, gone and packed on some more. Nearly dropped the brush, fantastic. Wet the brush and just repeat exactly what I did with this eye. So again, angle it up from the corner or down to the corner, whichever you find easiest. And then just lightly buff over just where the two shimmers meet with the tip of the bristles. Wow, that is a very, very summery look I'm having going on here right now. Okay, I'm going to pause you and I'm going to put all my foundation and stuff on, and I will be right back. So please don't go anywhere, because for you it's going to be pretty instant, let's be honest. And I'm back. Okay, I'm going to go in with this flat top brush, and I'm going to pick up some of Aries Matte, which is that pink. I'm going to put that really up tight under the lashes, as close to the lash line as I can get it, going about 2/3 of the way along. Now you watch, this eye be halfway down my under eye, because being blind in this eye I don't have any peripheral vision, so I'm kind of relying on the viewfinder and muscle memory. Doesn't always work out, folks. Oh, okay, I didn't do too badly this time. And then I have got a very similar shaped brush. It's still flat on the top, but it's a lot thicker. You can just use something like this, or the tapered crease brush if you don't have something like this. And I'm going to go in to, I think I might go into the Aries Shimmer, and tapping off and just using it dry, and just really gently buffing that along, just to soften the line. And you can use shimmers as mattes, depending on the brush you use and how you use them. I very often use shimmers in place of mattes, and you can get really, really attractive looks with them, because with the shimmers, the more you blend them, and if you use like a blending brush rather than a packing brush, it tends to kind of sweep the shimmer pigment away, just leaving you with the base shade. And you get more of like a satin finish, and I really like that. That's so pretty. Ooh, 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 pretty, pretty. Right, now I'm going to have a surprise myself because I haven't swatched this one yet, so I've got absolutely no idea how it's going to look. But I'm going into that big highlighter in the middle. And I'm going in with, this is just a cheap brush I picked up from eBay years ago. I'm going to pop that, oh hello, on the inner corner. And that's going on dry, folks. And just sweep that down to meet that under eye shade. Ooh, pretty. Oh yeah, you're very, very pretty. Yeah, I've not been to a naming ceremony before. I've been to lots of christenings, but not a naming ceremony. And it was really sweet. There was one point that we did where we all poured different coloured sands into a glass to represent how we're now part of his life and can't ever be separated back out again, which I thought was a really beautiful gesture. And yes, I haven't done my brows yet. I'm just popping that highlight up under the brow arch there. Right, I'm going to go off camera and do my brows and mascara and lippy and chuck a bit more highlighter everywhere. Do something with this hair, and I'll be back with my final first impression thoughts. And I'm back. So, what are my first thoughts on this palette? I'm actually really, really impressed with it. The mattes were super, super buttery and easy to blend. Certainly the ones that I've used anyway. Super easy to blend. The shimmers have gone on fantastically, perfectly covered the matte shades, so they've got plenty of pigmentation. The highlight colour is, well, let's say it certainly packs a punch, which, as you all know, my aesthetic is Tin Man crossed with Alien. So, you know, if I'm not glowing bright enough for the space station to spot me, then I ain't got enough highlight on. So the highlight definitely passes the test, put it that way. Obviously I've only used a few shades, and I actually went out of my comfort zone because to me this quadrant here is the one that calls me most. But I made a point of going outside my comfort zone and using the shades that I think the majority of people will have bought this palette for. And I really like it. It's a beautiful, soft, summery look, perfect for sort of summer barbecues or lunch out with the girls, or like me, a slightly dull, overcast Tuesday morning in February, where I have nowhere to go and nowhere to be. But at least when I answer the door now, I'm not going to scare people away. Seriously though, this looks to be exactly the same formula as the original Zodiac palette, which I love. I've used all the shades in the original palette more than once, and there's not a single dud amongst them. And fingers crossed this one will be the same. Obviously, I'm going to use this an awful lot more. There will be more tutorials with this on my channel. If you have specific shades that you would like to see me use, then let me know in the comments box below. Not the description box, that's what I write in. Told you it's bad rain day, folks, didn't I? Yeah, so let me know in the comments box if there are any colours you would specifically like to see me use. And I will gladly rack this one back out again. But I can tell you I'm going to be using this a lot off camera. I really like this. Really like this. So, I hope you found that helpful and a little bit informative and maybe even a little bit fun. If you did, it'd be great if you could hit that like button for me. Comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell. Ring my bell. And choose all notifications, and so that you get told every time that I upload another one of these videos. And talking of another one of these videos, I've got an awful lot for you to choose from now. YouTube is shocking at sending notifications out, so why not pop over and see if there's any you've missed, or if you're new to my channel, welcome. Grab a drink, grab a snack, put your feet up, choose a playlist and indulge. And when you finish watching all of mine, it'd be awesome if you could check out my girlies in the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group, of which I am blessed to be a member. We're all very micro channels, and we kind of shout each other out in the hope that we can share the love of makeup and spread the love of our channel just that little bit further. Right, all that remains, oh, they're listed in my description box below, by the way, as always. Right, all that remains for me to say, as ever, is you'll stay fabulous. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.